Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, boys.
It's been a good podcast, guys. Let's get rowdy.
Welcome, everyone, to the episode of the Footy Culture podcast. We got a special one for you all today. We got the Premier League predictions.
Yeah.
The best league in the world?
The best league.
The best league in the world.
For now.
The best league in the world.
Unfortunately.
We're at a special location here today. We're at Lost Craft Brewery. Thank you for them for having us again. And, let's kick it right off. We got our boys here, the usual. We got Chris. We got a nice familiar face and JP here.
What's up?
Our new face in the crowd here, we got Balraj.
What's up?
Unfortunately, he's an Arsenal fan, so we'll try to keep the chirping at a low today.
It's okay.
Actually, no. Yeah.
We always start at the top of the table.
Yeah, and then we'll see how it goes.
Alphabetically,
we got James, and then last but not least, we got Dave, and then Matt behind the camera today.
Big lamps today.
But yeah, man, we got about a week away.
Yeah.
A great community shield this past weekend. Honestly, was it expected? Completely. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to see a solid performance. I think, right? Like solid performance from the team, and I think we gave that. I mean, you can't get too excited, and you can't get too worried.
Yeah.
City's had a kind of a long layoff, and after winning the treble, so they were just on their maybe, I think first preseason game, maybe second or third preseason game, and we were already finishing up our preseason. So, I mean, can't read too much into it, but I'm just glad for the win because I think we needed it more, just to get the hump over City, and to make sure that we can, start the season on a high.
Did you go into that game thinking Arsenal could actually win the game?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, we gave City a run for their money at home when they played at the Emirates, and I think also in the FA Cup we did as well. But I thought we could win it. I mean, I didn't think City was going to come full tilt.
Yeah, that's
at all.
Right.
That was the main thing, I think.
They were still a little hungover from their celebration this summer. This little break. Yeah, I didn't see much from City this break really. There was not many friendlies. I only played a couple games in Asia,
in Japan.
Yeah. But besides that, again, maybe they weren't really going into it thinking of we have to go out and get this, start off the season strong, because they know who City is. City knows who they are. Again, they're picking up a couple last few signings here with is it Vardiol? He's guaranteed.
Vardiol is done, yeah.
Yep. Most expensive signing in the world as a center back is pretty crazy at 90 mil, right? And I think they were just still trying to figure out their new shape because, again, they got rid of Gundogan, right? They still have, obviously, Haaland up top, but Haaland was still didn't do really much. De Bruyne, I think, came off the bench. And, again, there's some players on the pitch who are still, in the talks. I don't know if Bernardo Silva's going to stay, if he's going to go. But, honestly, when I saw that goal from Palmer, I was like, okay, this might be the end. And then that last final hurrah from Trossard.
But what a lucky goal. Oh, my God.
I'll say one thing, though. After seeing Arsenal last season, the most comebacks and the most they played right till the end every game. Yeah. That was the biggest issue the year before. Mm-hmm. And so I was actually at a spa watching the game quietly by the pool on my phone. My wife's next to me, and I'm watching the game. First off, she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm watching.
You're here to relax.
She follows it too now. You know what I mean?
Good.
But she's like, "Okay, you're here to relax." I'm like, "No. This is serious business." And then when they scored that last goal, I went nuts because I knew at penalties, I felt like we had it at penalties. Because the momentum was just all ours.
Yeah, that's true.
But I want to see fight. That's the main thing. I think you don't want to see a team give up, and I think Arsenal has built that DNA.
It's crazy that you say they play right till the very end, but I remember seeing 2 games where it was nearing to the end of the season, and I think Arsenal was still up top, and there's that game against Liverpool, and that game against, I forget who else they were up 2-0 against.
I think it was Southampton.
Was that a league game? Or it might have been a...
all of them were league games.
All of them were league games. But you know what I mean? Sure, you can say that to the end, but they were up 2-0, and they came down to tie, and who's to say that maybe those games caused them, right? If they got those full 6 points, they might have won the league, but... Again, it's
3
always
games out of 138 games.
Yeah, it's always important to play to the very end.
Yeah. And when you're playing against a team like City to win the championship, City gets strong when everyone else starts dipping. They have perfected. They peak at the right time.
Yeah.
But also Arsenal kind of brought it onto themselves last season where they started the games off losing. Yeah. And at the end, like you were saying, they would come back, but those comebacks were because of their own faults. They would go into second half 1-0 down or 2-0 down, and they would come back to win. But you know what? You do want to see the fight, but obviously you don't want to see that going into this season. You want Arsenal to do more than that. Just
I think the signings have really improved that, and I think getting Raya also is going to help that as well. I think like to have a backup and to give you can't make a mistake now on the Arsenal team, you'll lose your spot, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get into that. Enough of what happened, what could have been. If Arsenal lifted the trophy, but it's a new season. What are the best new signings of the Premier League in this upcoming season? And if you think as a team or as a player, like who do you think? We'll start with as a player. Like what's the new big face, or it could be a new big face that came into the league this year, or maybe a current or a previous a face that was already in the league that jumped to a different team, was like, okay, this player's gonna make a big difference.
Well, look like a new signing, pretty much.
Well, Declan Rice.
Declan Rice?
Let's call...
One game, one trophy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Game, one perfect. Last 2 games he's played, he's won a trophy. It's pretty good odds. I mean, that's the elephant in the room, right? Right?
Yeah.
Like Declan Rice. I think like when you can sign a proven Premier League player, every team succeeds whenever they've done that. And I think Arsenal will succeed, barring any injury or anything like that. Knock on wood here. But I definitely think that they're gonna really make Arteta is amazing at making the most out of individuals. So like I'm not worried about Kai Havertz. He's been in the league, but
he had some opportunities in that game as well.
I think Arteta will get the best of him. I think it'll take 10, 15 games.
But like he's not a striker though.
Yeah, he's not a striker. But I don't think a lot of teams are not playing with strikers. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the new way, like fluid motion. Fluid positions. But you know what? I think. Declan Rice, I think, is by far the best, like, Premier League. I think you have to put 2 categories in this now. Like, Premier League...
Proven
kind of player, and then you have to think about an external player. I think they have to be judged a bit differently, right?
Yeah.
So,
what do you think?
I got 2 players. For one that already has been signed, who I think is going to ball out this year, is Mudryk. I think that might be a huge face for Chelsea. And then biggest signing, it's also from Chelsea, but he's out for a couple months, and Kunku. I think he's going to absolutely dominate this league.
That's such an unfortunate injury on that side of the table, especially Chelsea, who were looking pretty well in preseason. A lot of new faces, kind of almost a brand new team. But there's also those players from last season who didn't really start off at a head start. Like they needed that little break, they needed a little reset. And Kunku coming in and getting that injury, it's a little tough for them because he was kind of their creative player going forward.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, what position is he going to play, though? He's one of those players who plays everywhere.
Like Balraj thing, he's going to be like a false 9, just like Havertz.
Like a
second striker.
Second striker type of thing.
If he's playing next to Lukaku, I don't know if that'll work.
Lukaku's not.
I don't know.
It'll probably be Jackson.
It'll be Nico Jackson, probably.
Nico Jackson, yeah. From Villarreal, no?
Yeah. I think Pochettino will have these guys balling out this year.
What do you have, JP?
For me, I want to say an Arsenal player too, but I don't think Rice. I think Timber's going to be more impactful than Rice is.
Oh, for sure.
I rate him so heavy, actually.
He's even playing
I
as
wanted him at United to play right back.
I had him in my category of of signing outside of the league, but he's so versatile. Amazing.
Because he comes in and does the exact same thing Zinchenko was doing, and everyone was amazed when Zinchenko was doing it all last season. This guy comes in, does it seamlessly right from the get-go. And then he's versatile. He can play center back, he can play right back, and you can drop him into midfield as well because he seems like he's that comfortable on the ball. So it's I think he works perfectly for the way Arsenal wants to play and the way he is as a player. So 100%. He's my guy.
Especially with today's football, it's always evolving, and it's always kind of what is Pep doing that the other teams can kind of learn from. But this definitely this fullback position, which is kind of more inverted, is really prominent in some of the teams now in the league. So Timber's definitely going to be a big shot for the season.
I love preseason, man. United fans are always
they're
so nice, Preseason. No, all of a sudden, if we do a postseason review here, we'll be at the.
No, we had that. We had that game against Arsenal. Yeah. We did come out on top, but again, even seeing Arsenal play in the preseason, the way they played against Barcelona, I know even the way they played against Madrid, and there was positives to that team. They consistently played the way they were doing last year, and then obviously there was a couple extra players just to support them. Personally, I think the best signings for this season in the Premier League, wow, there's a handful of them, but again, there's a new face in United in Haaland, but I don't think he's gonna be able to come up that strong. So I'm not gonna be biased from that side of the things, but I think I'm trying to think. Yeah, so many players.
I mean, I think a dark horse is going to be Tonali.
Newcastle.
Just that system is so. I don't think anyone's rating him at all. He did amazing for AC Milan, but he's like. I just think that team is so well coached. Like, people say, oh, okay, they've got a lot of money and whatnot, but they're not. They don't remind me of like how City was when they when they first came in with all that
money,
all the funds. They were buying perennial superstars.
Yeah.
Like Newcastle's actually, I think they're being smart with it, and they're really building out a very, very balanced team. So I think he's more of a defensive central midfielder type of player, but I think he's gonna add something to that team that they absolutely needed. Less pressure on like Trippier and these guys. They'll be able to do what they need to do. But
the thing is with Tonali, going back to Tonali, Italians can't do it in the Prem, and we've seen it before. We just saw it last year with Scamacca. Unfortunately, he did get injured, but he's out now. He went back to Serie A, Atalanta. Yep. I'm just worried that the pressure of these Italians who come in from the Serie A. I can't see Tonali. I hope he does do well, but I just can't see him do what everyone expects him to do.
Well, he's not going to be a Haaland, but I'm just saying the best signing for the team that they needed, right? Sure. But you're right. Like traditionally, they have not done well, but like Italians in the Premier League. But I don't know. Like that's a very general statement. Like it depends if they're playing in the right system. Maybe they do well. But
he's got the build for a Prem player, though.
It's also that
very strong.
It's also that not that many Italians go there, so you have a small batch of players, and unfortunately, most of them don't do it. But like, are they the best of their nationality? Not really. Like Scamacca was a huge talent, but he unfortunately was playing with something torn in his leg the whole season. That's unfortunate. Jorginho, I know he's not Italian, but he was fine.
I'm going to give a shout to Onana. I think the 2 games that he did play for United this preseason, like again, it was a lot of support on the back that I feel like the United team did need in terms of the ball movement, especially the delivery too. We did see a big chances from Rashford out wide. Now I feel like the players need to adapt to like his play style too, because as much as he's going to be able to have the possession of the ball a little bit more and support the defense a little bit more, the players need to know like, hey, Onana has the ball. Like, where can I make my movement so he can get it to me? Because we know that he can get it to the players onto their feet easily.
Best ball playing goalie,
like,
for sure.
As much as you can say that chip against him, that he was received by who was it? Chipped him.
I think it was a player on Lens.
Oh, Lens. They played against Lens. But again, I don't blame Onana on that. I blame obviously more Dalot because he's the one that made the poor pass. But again, players need to adapt to the way Onana plays, and then I feel like that's going to be very successful for United this season. Yeah.
For me, man, I got Szoboszlai from Liverpool. I think he's going to be a great player. I've seen him cook so many teams in the Bundesliga last season, cook Dortmund a handful of times as well. And I think he's just like one of the best strikers of the ball in football. Like I think he's got a crazy left foot. And I think in a Klopp system where, he's already used to that pressing style that Red Bull plays, I think he's going to fit right in the Premier League. I know like in some of the preseason fitness tests, he was kind of blowing everybody else right out of the water, just coming into the team fresh. And I think, he's just so gifted. And I think, with those 3 attackers that they have up top, with Salah, with Jota, with Diaz, with Gakpo, with Nunez, you name it, I think like him kind of playing in that role just in behind, he's going to be able to create so many chances for those players. And I think he's really going to cook this season, man.
Yeah,
70 mil was definitely a little pricey, but I think Premier League now, that's like your average. That's like your average price. Average price for a talented player.
The Pepe signing doesn't seem so bad now.
Yeah,
72 million.
Seriously, man, I gotta say the most expensive center back, Gvardiol. I mean, for Man City to be spending that much money, and when Man City when Man City spends that much money, it's because it's a player that's gonna It's not just an iffy player. He's gonna go right into that team, and he's gonna fit well. You've seen how he's done it for Croatia, how he's played in the Bundesliga as well. He's a player that he's a ball playing center back basically, and that's what they need, right? As a Pep team that like to have a lot of possession. He's a player that you need right there, and with that now you can see players like Stones, like he was playing more of a defensive midfielder. He can go into that position now too, and I just can't see Diaz and Gvardiol getting scored on much.
I don't see. I don't know if he's going to play in the central role. I think he's going to be one of the wide, the fullback.
You think he's going to play wide?
Left center back.
Probably
left.
He's left-footed.
He's left-footed.
Yeah,
he is left-footed.
Ake had a big season last year too.
Yeah, but Vardiol is Vardiol.
Yeah,
I can see them even play a 3-back.
But Dave, about City spending money, you think Grealish is worth it now?
You think what?
You think Grealish was worth it now?
Yeah.
Because
Grealish was worth it?
after last season, you think
Yeah.
100 mil?
100%.
Look
what he did
I feel like
last
the bar.
season.
What did he do last season? Let's be real.
He was really good last season.
Nah.
You can't say he was.
I feel like the bar. I feel like the bar is pretty low for 100 mil.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, that's
like he was great. I'd say not. I'd like I'll say that. But like if you're gonna compare, if you're gonna say 100 million,
No, not
The bar
100
is pretty
million,
low.
but
Only
everyone
'cause Man
says he
City
had.
won, I
Everyone
think.
says it, and it's true. He had a great season last year. He's a very
Tricky winger.
he's a different player he brings a different style to Man City that they don't already have. He's very smart on the ball.
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
Very smart on the ball and very he basically brings the speed of the game down every time he has the ball.
just slow it down.
Slows the game down.
He slows the
Yeah.
game
Yeah.
every time he has the ball, and he's able to look at those passes, gets a lot of fouls,
Yeah.
which is needed as well, and he's just a good player on that left side.
I think the tough part is that we always talk about like the transfer fee and were they worth that amount. It's really tough. Like I know it's an easy catch to go to, but
Yeah.
like both Grealish and Haaland, for example, they had release clauses in their contract. They don't control that. They wanted a player on the wing. They thought Grealish was the best player to match that. They paid it up because they could afford to.
Exactly.
Has nothing to do, I don't think, with is he worth $100 million or not? Because that's just what the fee is, and especially with release clauses, that's a bit of a different story, than Declan Rice, because they knew his market worth and they kind of paired it up to everyone else, English players and whatnot. But
Yeah.
when you look at Haaland, 50 million, you know what I mean? That sounds like a bargain, but that's just what it
Exactly.
costs to get him. And he technically could choose, I'm sure every single team bid on him. He chose where to go.
Yeah.
Right? Like everyone could afford 50 mil, right? So, but I mean, that's a tough one to judge.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, great many signings this season. Who do you guys think is going to be the least exciting? Who's going to be that flop of the season for this year?
New signing flop of this.
New signing flop of the season. Who's going to be?
Good question.
Who's that guy coming in and he's going to be like, oh, he's going to make a big change, and then you know what, just
Easy. Havertz.
average.
I have no faith in that. That guy's been in the Prem for how long and she'll mean absolutely nothing.
Wow.
And change the team isn't going to change anything for me. I'm not going to lie. And I've seen him miss 2 big chances in the Community Shield just now. So it's like,
Damn.
I think he's just going to continue the same way.
Yeah?
He's always been, I can't think of the word right now.
Mediocre.
Yeah, I guess.
Mid?
Mid. He
He doesn't fulfill the expectations you have of him,
He's a wonder kid.
right? He's a failed wonder
He's
kid.
a failed wonder kid, yeah.
Because
Failed.
the potential is there, right? You see him get into these good moments, right? You see him have these great games, Champions League winning goal, but then there's you want it consistent.
You want
I don't think
consistency.
he'll-
That's what you want from him.
It's
Exactly.
kind of like he's
bar
not.
and
It's
it's
kind of like he's
below it.
playing out of his position almost.
he is.
Is he a striker? Is he a cam? No one really plays with cams anymore.
He's a 10,
but
but
there's also
there's
someone who kind of plays in his position.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Chelsea. I think
yeah.
was a weird setup. I mean, look, I was surprised, just like everybody else, when Arsenal signed
Yeah.
Havertz. I think I trust Arteta
Yeah.
in really placing players in the right spots because he has a proven track record.
Yeah.
He took Odegaard, and Odegaard obviously was an amazing player, and people kind of. I don't know if people wrote him off. I certainly didn't
No,
write him off.
yeah, for sure.
He was
I'd
on
say
my
so.
ultimate team in FIFA, and I was super excited about that. But when we signed him, I think Wenger did the same thing with Nasri back in the day, and no one kind of rated Nasri either. But I don't know. It's one of those. Let's just. We gotta wait till the season starts.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
all about opportunity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think he starts, in my opinion. Maybe with the Jesus injury, but it also depends on how much game time you get. But
Yeah.
I mean, I have to tend to. I kind of have to agree with you just based on the track record.
Yeah.
But I will be so happy if I'm proven wrong.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to be flopping this season?
It's a hard one. I haven't really thought of who's gonna flop. I don't think it's a flop, but I think Højlund, I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be like a Mudryk situation
100%.
because I don't know. I don't think United has decided exactly how they're gonna
Use him.
play
him. Yeah.
as a team. I think I think United will be top 4 in my opinion, but I don't think because they always find a way. They always get on a hot streak. They always find a way, and but I just don't think I think everyone thinks he's gonna come in and be like Haaland or one of those guys.
I don't think so
but,
either.
But let's see. I mean, there's a lot of signings. I can't even think of I didn't even think of a flop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
My fault. It's an easy one for me, man. I'm thinking Mason Mount.
Yeah. I was about to say that.
What's the United hit on this table right now?
Mason,
agree with
Mason
you.
Mount,
Oh my
man,
days.
he was mid for Chelsea, and
Oh my god.
Going to United, like, where is he going to play? Like, that's my thing. Like, they have Bruno in the 10, and he's irreplaceable in that team. He's not a winger. He's not a 6. He's not really an 8. So it's like,
nothing.
Where is he really going to play?
Like I'm putting him behind Ericsson too.
I don't know, man. He starts for England usually, so I mean, he's been starting for England. I mean, he's.
It's just.
Wait, Dan. When you say you put him behind Ericsson, you mean you start Ericsson over him?
Yeah. Like
That's ridiculous.
My table is Bruno. If Bruno needs a sub in,
Mount more creative than Ericsson?
No.
There's no way.
No.
But
I'm sorry.
but Mount isn't a hologram defensively. Mount can run. Mount can press.
Yeah, but
that's the thing.
But Mount can't shoot. Look what happened last game.
Okay, yeah, you missed an empty net. But my thing is, Mount was bad last year, but the years before that, he was getting Mount and Foden comparisons. And everyone knows Foden is one of the most talented English players in the Prem. So it's like, you're going to base it off of 1 year when Chelsea, we knew, was a shambles as a whole.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, listen,
and then when he was good 2 years before that, he's going to be great. He's going to be in a system where people believe in him. He's a great player. I don't see him doing poorly at all.
Wow.
I don't know.
The theme here, I think we're picking a lot of Chelsea players. I think like Chelsea's been a mess, man, for the last like 2-3 years.
They got rid of all the scraps.
Yeah, they got rid of everyone. I think they're going to start fresh now. But like, I mean, they signed a lot of talent, right? And so Chelsea players, like I think you need to give everybody a little mulligan.
To give them that year.
Give them a mulligan because it's impossible to play when you don't know who your starting 11 is. Your coach gets fired mid-season, every season. It's impossible. Like, what do you do?
Oh, for sure, 100%.
What do you do as a player? How do you move forward?
I just don't see. Like, if you gave me a position that Man U needs, and a player that needs to be there, it's a winger in my opinion, or a striker, and I don't see Mount as neither one of those position players. You already have a 10, quote unquote, or an 8. You have midfielders, defensive-minded midfielders. Why did they go for Mount? That's my opinion. He's not a winger. He's not going to be playing on the wing. I'd rather have Garnacho on the wing, to be honest.
Oh, he's going to be playing on the wing for sure.
I'd rather have Rashford on the wing.
Yeah.
He's playing this season.
But
I think Garnacho's getting the start, to be honest.
I think so.
But at the same time, last season, when Bruno wasn't there, who did we have?
So then you spent how much on Mason Mount for him to be a sub?
60. I'm not saying he's not going to be a sub. He's going to start. But at the same, I'm just saying when you don't have Bruno, now you have Mount. You have both of these players. Now you have options.
So then who's riding the bench then?
I don't have midfielders, brother. So it's going to be Casemiro, Mount. He's not. It's going to be Casemiro, Mount, and Bruno locked in. Fred isn't going to take a spot.
I'm sorry, I can't see that.
Ericsson isn't going to take a starting spot. McTominay is going to take a starting spot. It's going to be them three.
Maybe. I don't see him doing well. That's my player.
No, I'm just.
Mount?
Yeah.
I feel offended. I heard 3 United signings. I feel attacked right now.
I also had Mason Mount.
Oh my god!
But I'll go Disasi because of what James said last time. We're talking. Didn't Monaco fans want him out?
Yeah.
Because he's actually not that good, and they kind of made a bag for no reason. But I'll go him because he's probably not going to get that much playing time at all. So they paid all that money for no reason. But it was Mason Mount though. Yeah. Crazy.
All these Mount.
Man, you're spending money just like.
I know. I honestly hope Hodgson is going to be something that's going to be.
No, he's talented. He's
talented, but like
he's scored 9 goals in what, 30 games?
He just started popping off towards the end of the year.
So then he was even worse.
Yeah, but they had Zapata ahead of him before.
Bro has an international hat trick, bro. At 20 years old. Your favorite player doesn't have that, bro.
He's talented. He just needs service. I don't see United giving that much service because
their wingers don't look to provide; they look to score.
Well, just Rashford.
The only person who provides you can say is going to be what's his name?
Bruno.
Mm-hmm. Bro, what service he's going to get?
Bro, we're going to be playing mad transition.
Here we go.
It's going to be long ball central, and you have Mount.
You on the phone with Ten Hag?
Bro, I have
you know everything.
What are you talking about?
Oh
no, but actually though, watching the preseason games because you watch them to see a general idea of how your team's gonna play for the next season. I don't really care about results. I just see
I saw Man U lose a lot.
Yeah, we smashed Arsenal.
You had to get that in.
But the way United want to play, you're gonna play on transition. It's gonna be quick, counter-attacking a lot of the times. Yeah. A lot of our play last year was Rashford because he has the speed to do it. Yeah. Now you got Haaland, who's tall and fast and strong at the same time, and now you have Rashford doing the same thing. It's more than just one option.
What is Ten Hag's in your opinion? What is his the way he wants to play his team. Like,
yeah.
you know, when I see like Poch, obviously, like we don't know what he's going to do with his Chelsea players. Like Arteta, you can kind of see what he's doing with Arsenal. Mm-hmm. But United being one of our biggest rivals, I follow them. I have a lot of United fans around me. But, you know, I follow them to a T to kind of understand, like, what they're doing. But I still can't figure it out. Like, is he trying to build an Ajax-type style system? Is he trying to do something different? Like, what's your opinion?
Like, it's tricky because, like, last season it seemed like it changed depending on who we played. So, like, when we were playing lower sides, we try and keep the ball a little bit more and create chances. But then when we played, like, City and Arsenal and Liverpool, it was heavy counterattack. It was sit, Rashford, go, Bruno, find him, please, and hope. Right? So then, like, now this season, I think we're trying to go more possession-based. That's why we got Onana, so we don't have to go long every time. We can keep it out of the back. And then that's why we get, like, more technical players like Mount, so that we can keep the ball a little bit better. But I think, entirely, it's not just set to one, but it's just whatever it takes to win. Like, it's just winning. And I'd say pressing is a big thing with him. So I'd say pressing is a big thing, but, like, just adapting to what your team is, to what you're playing against to win.
So you guys gonna play like Juve then? Whatever it takes to win.
And look how well it did for them.
Yeah, I know. Well, we got to see how they perform this season. Obviously, we got a couple new signings. We did finish top four. Like, again, we were still fighting for top four. We did finish top four. We have Champions League. There is a lot of football this season for us. But let me just transition now and say, what team do you think is going to surprise us the most this season in terms of, again, with their new signings, and like who's going to really just come out there and perform? I know we have a lot of teams now performing for top four. We have the typical, City. We have Arsenal back into it now. We got, United. We got, Chelsea. Hopefully they can jump back into it. Are Spurs really in there anymore? Newcastle are now the new team top four. Like what new team now this year is going to be like, wow, like game changing?
Want me to start? I can start. I don't think they're going to make top four, but I think they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. Aston Villa.
That was mine.
Pau Torres and Diaby coming in, huge signings. Pau Torres he's going to play unreal under Unai Emery's helm. So that team, I could see them making Europa League spot, but I do think Chelsea is going to be a nuisance this year in that top four race, and I do think they will make the top four race. So it's going to lead to either one of those big four. I don't think Newcastle making it, but I do think they will give Man United a hard time in that top four race.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine was Aston Villa too, just because like Emery came in and brought them from like bottom, like fighting relegation to top half of the table in the European spot, and then now he brought in like Tielemans and Diaby.
Oh, and Tielemans.
Yeah, and then Pau Torres.
Pau Torres too,
right? And then like this is like what I take Unai Emery's level is, because like he goes into those like little Europa League, Conference League type teams, and then surprises you,
Yeah.
So like he's like. Facts. Like where was he? Was Villarreal?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know he beat. Was it him that beat United in the final? I remember watching that. They held it in 12 pence. Well, it's fine. But yeah, I think them under Unai Emery is going to surprise a lot of people. Like carry on what they did from last year.
And that's where Pau Torres is from, Villarreal. So that's his old boy.
Yeah. He's used to playing under him, right?
Yeah. What do you got, Balraj?
I still think Brighton. I mean, I don't know if they're a dark horse. I just think if they don't lose CAICEDO,
they're gonna lose CAICEDO. Yeah.
I don't know they're gonna lose CAICEDO.
He's not showing up to training.
I mean, I still think De Zerbi will figure out a way. Yeah. I just like the way they play. Like
he's a great coach.
So
when you have like Pep, like telling you how great, and people saying like they're the best team in the Prem that play like that. They play very fast, open up triangle formation.
Triangles everywhere.
Yeah.
It's for Pep to say that.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I just like them. I just like the way they play.
It's just really good.
I think they're. But I mean, I agree with Aston Villa. But I think like to give some differentiation, I think no one should sleep on Brighton even if they lose players. Like they keep losing players, and they're still performing and creating upsets. So I still think Brighton.
Yeah, and the thing about Brighton is they added good pieces too. Dahoud, Joao Pedro, and then Enciso came out of nowhere last season. Yeah. So it's like even when they are losing players, they're replacing them well. So
they are.
That's a good show.
I like Brighton a lot. Yeah.
For me, man, one team I think that's going to be pretty surprising, a team that just got promoted. I think Bournemouth is going to be pretty cheeky, man. I think they're actually coached by the old Bilbao player. I don't know if you guys remember Iraola, right back. Yeah. He's actually their gaffer, and they're playing some That's pretty good football. Attacking wingbacks. They signed actually one of like the most exciting wingbacks in football, Milos Kirch from AZ Alkmaar. I know a lot of teams are hot after him. He's a really talented young Hungarian left back. I know it sounds crazy, but he had crazy GA in both Europa League and in the Dutch League last year. And then he signed for them because he wanted to play under Iraola, which is kind of crazy. But I think they're going to be that team that comes up and they're going to stay up, and everyone's going to be pretty surprised with how well they play. And I think they're going to play good football, similar to like a Brighton style football. I think so. I think Bournemouth is going to be interesting. Obviously, I think Villa and Brighton were good shouts as well, but just for one a little bit different, I'm going to go Bournemouth. Yeah, Bournemouth.
I'm going to go and just say maybe Chelsea this year. I know they finished out of the top 4. They had a really, really poor season this year, and these new signings are going to change it up. I know they have that injury in Nkunku, but same thing. I feel like Mudrik's going to step up. They got Jackson, who was doing really well during preseason. Midfielders too. They got their new signings as well, and they need to. I feel like they got it. Especially their center backs too. They got a little bit more in reinforcement, and they might be looking into a new goalkeeper as well.
They got him.
They already got him.
Sanchez,
the Newcastle
Sanchez, yeah.
No, Brighton.
Brighton's keeper.
Brighton, yeah.
But I think Chelsea can come and fight for top 4 as well. Yeah. Moving now and seeing now that we have all these big players in the league, we have Haaland, we have Rashford, we have Saka now, who's obviously one of the bigger players in the England national team too. Who is the new face of the Premier League this season?
Oh,
are we still keeping it?
Easy. It's Haaland, treble winner. He's literally the one getting the shout for a Ballon d'Or right now. It has to be Haaland. Has to be.
That's true. I know it's crazy to say that a kid who, how old is he now? 24.
Haaland? No,
I think still younger.
He's like 22, 23.
Wow. And coming into the season, everyone will say it's one of the harder leagues to play in. And, in his first season, beating the record, scoring hat tricks week in, week out, beating some of the Legends hat tricks records in a matter of games. I think he beat Rooney's record in a matter of 4 or 5 games already.
Yeah.
And he is going to keep this Man City name alive and for the years to come, just because of the talent and the amount of everything he did on that pitch last season is in history as one of the best ever.
Yeah.
And for them to go out and now do it back to back would be something ridiculous. But everyone is obviously still saying that they can still run that trouble. And as much as people can say that this league is getting stronger, a lot more signings coming in, City look like they can still do it, and Haaland is definitely that guy to keep doing it. So it's. Do you guys have any other alternatives?
I think the only other player I can maybe give a shout to, I think is still Salah, just because I think even from a brand and kind of marketing perspective, I think he's really the only other player other than Haaland that maybe is as out there and as well known worldwide as Haaland. But I think ever since he's came into the league, you've seen him this offseason after he won. He was everywhere. You're seeing him pictured everywhere with every celebrity, every magazine cover, every crazy outfit. He really just has that yeah. image that's really kind of taking him and, making him not just the greatest player in the league, but also the greatest brand in the league as well. But I think other than him, you can maybe give a shout to Salah just because he's been doing it for a while. Obviously, last season was tough for Liverpool. So if you're going off recency bias, maybe you don't look at Salah the same way. But I think if Liverpool have any kind of chance at doing anything this season, I think Salah is going to play a big part in that. And I think we shouldn't forget about how big of a player he still is, right?
No, 100%. And obviously, speaking of City still being at the top and Haaland being the cover boy for that team too, what's it going to take to stop City to keep winning trophies, to keep getting all this? They're going to keep competing even in Champions League, right? There's so many teams worldwide who can't really it's hard to really compete with that team, and they're still making signings. They're still reinforcing their team. They're making their bench stronger.
So I don't know how they can sustain it. It's tough. They're only human, right? Mm-hmm. They I think bar injury, they're still the team to beat, 100%. I think there's a lot more competition. I think every other team has gotten way stronger relatively than City has, in my opinion. And Haaland can only get better. There's a lot of things Haaland doesn't do that he can get better. It just depends how quickly he embraces that and gets better and doesn't get complacent. Because you have an amazing ball passer in De Bruyne that's swinging into him. But I honestly think Arsenal will at least nick one game on them, like get a draw or a win. I think it'll happen, but I don't know, man. I still think they're the team to beat, barring any injury. I think that's what it is.
We're gonna have to see throughout the years how they can really replace some of these superstars, right? How can they find someone to replace De Bruyne? Maybe if he's his career at City's over, they kind of have to move him forward to the next side, and how they're gonna replace him. They're clearly being able to easily replace some of the center backs with signing their bigger players like now Vardio, right?
That's the biggest.
They're transitioning. Like, are they going to keep, having to replace these players, or like, are they going to keep spending that money? You don't see much coming out of their academy. Like, they have 1-2 players, but then they say ship them out. It's always
De Bruyne can't finish games anymore. He can't finish games. He couldn't finish the Champions League, like you guys saw it here. Live. Like, I don't know. Like, as good of a player he is, if you can't finish games,
it's going to be
concerning. It's concerning for sure.
Yeah, especially now we have hopefully Foden. We'll see how Foden does. Like he was dropped to the bench obviously with Grealish's performance, and it's really hard to see now. Mahrez is out, right? So who's going to be taking that right wing role? Is going to be Bruno going to be in there? Are they going to try some of their young players going in forward now?
This is going to be the tough. I think this will be the toughest if they want to go back to back. It's going to be the toughest season for them. I think, and Guardiola's not the nicest manager. I mean, he's pretty ruthless. But I think he's going to need to open it up a little bit here and give us something different.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see.
Now, for a team that surprised many of us in finishing top 4 this season in Newcastle, now they're competing in Champions League.
Newcastle.
How do you think they're going to perform? Do you think they're going to go back to back? Do you think they're going to run
back-to-back top 4?
Back-to-back top 4. Do you think the Champions League run is going to be a successful run?
Can they make it out of the group, you think?
What is a successful run for them in the Champions League?
Out of the group, easily.
Out of the group, yeah. I would say out of the group, but they got a lot of football to play this year. And they did make a couple signings, but
not as many as you
are they
thought.
Good enough for top 4 this year? I don't think so. I do think they'll make a Europa League spot, but top 4, that's going to be tough for them to get top 4. And also, I think they'll make it out of the group stage, though. They have a pretty deep squad.
I think it just depends what their group looks like, too.
Yeah.
It's tough to tell now.
They could get the death group, for all we know. But I do think they'll make it out of their group stage. They'll have a good year. I think they'll have a good year, but it's not going to be like unreal top 4 again. They make it out of the group stage. Like, it's not going to be that. They'll do decent.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm with Chris there. I think, in the Prem, I think if you're one of those like non-traditional top 6 teams, I think every now and again you'll see a team make that top 4 run, like a Leicester, like a Newcastle now. But I think it's very, very hard for them to sustain it. Just because they don't have that same squad depth. Like, they'll have enough for that one run. They can put everything into that one run and make top 4. But like you said, they made a couple signings here and there, but not near enough to be able to compete on, they already play in so many competitions in England as it is, but to add in Champions League to that too. And, Newcastle hasn't played in the Champions League in quite some time. Right. So I think that's a fresh competition. It's a different competition too. It's a different style of football than the Prem. So it's like some of those players, maybe aren't used to that level of competition, that different style of play. So that the midweek games as well being thrown in there, it's going to take a lot of their legs. So I think for me, maybe I'm thinking like Conference League spots for Newcastle this season. Europa League, I think, is going to be tough because I think you're going to have teams like Villa, you're going to have teams like Brighton that maybe aren't playing in Europe, and they're going to be able to make that jump up. Well, Newcastle might struggle a little bit. And then, like we mentioned already, like all these other teams like Chelsea, Liverpool, they're going to be better this season. They're not going to be as low as they were last season. So I think with those teams moving up, someone's got to move down, and I think it's going to be Newcastle, at least for this season.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Totally agree. The only one thing you can say about Newcastle is they do have the financial backup, where they can get these players now. So, maybe they don't do really well in the Champions League, but maybe they do again well in the Premier League. Next season, they buy more players. For them to get someone like Tonali was unheard of. Who would have thought he was going to go to Newcastle? Next thing you know,
I don't think he thought he was.
No.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Was that a good upgrade for him? You think? From
Milan? No, that's a downgrade.
I mean, for him to play in the best league in the world.
Nah, but Milan's one of those clubs, man.
Of course, I mean that was his boyhood club, but that just shows you that Newcastle do have some type of pull.
Yeah, and he's playing. He's
right?
starting. So
for sure,
he's starting
100%. So, Newcastle might not do well in Champions League, but I can still see them fighting for the Premier League. We didn't know they were going to make top 4.
That's true.
This fast. I knew, maybe in a couple of years, with the financial backup.
I lost the bet, I know.
We talked about this.
Newcastle, it depends how far they go in Champions League and what they prioritize, right? Like, getting out of the group stage gets them the money. That might be good, you know, and January is also, like you mentioned, they've got financial backing, so January could bring them some, depending on how far they go. So there's a lot of questions, but I think I'm with you guys as well. Like, I don't like having seen Arsenal go through that path. Like, it's a big club like Arsenal struggling, you know, going back and forth they were out for such a long time. It's very difficult. Like, I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I think I'm with you. I think Conference League. I think, if anything, like Aston Villa has a chance to finish top 4 to surprise everybody, or Brighton, Chelsea too. But yeah, Newcastle, I don't think they can sustain it. I think they're going to want to go for everything, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they're not. I don't think that club has the, you know, motivation to kind of like call it in on one of the competitions. Yeah. Maybe Carabao Cup, but I mean,
they're going to go for it. Yeah, it's crazy that we're talking about all these new signings now, and then last season we probably. Maybe my short-term memory, I just noticed that like last season was probably one of the seasons with the most sackings in like the league and even worldwide. You saw managers dropping left, right, and center, other teams picking up ones that got fired recently, and it was just a lot of movement in terms of like management.
Chelsea alone last year had 3 managers.
I think like Southampton too.
But you know what I mean? Like it was a lot of movement in the manager side, because at the end of the day, like who's the first that's going to get knocked out? You don't see the players getting the back end of the stick, and then you know it's always like the team's like, oh, the gaffer's done, next. But who's that team that's gonna sack their manager first, or who do you think is gonna be get that first sack in this season? It's obviously hypothetical. We don't know how they're performing, but from the teams that we see now with their signings and them not performing with the signings they received, who do you think is gonna be the first one to get a cut?
First one to get the boot.
It's kind of tough to say, because kind of like how you just said. A lot of these guys are new.
Yeah.
There's literally their new jobs. But I'd say someone who did get like hired last year, Roy Hodgson. Just because I don't think Crystal Palace is going to do as well as they expect to do. And if they do lose Olise to Chelsea, which is the rumors right now, which is a big loss, and they already lost Zaha, right? It's going to be difficult for them to replicate.
And they were doing really, really, really poor at one point last year.
Exactly. Right? So it's going to be hard for them to replicate that form. And I think he's just going to be unfortunate to have that team and just be unlucky.
And they didn't really sign anyone, right? Like big players?
I haven't seen anything.
Crystal Palace? Not that I heard.
I don't think so. They probably have, but small names.
Yeah.
They signed Edward last season to try to bring something different up top.
Yeah.
Not much happened there. You obviously saw those games where Eze was performing. He obviously beat that one chance against United with the free kick. He beat us there. Was it? I think it was
Olise in like last minutes. Yeah. Just banged in a free kick.
But no, 100%. I think Crystal Palace is one of those teams that, you know, they've been in the Premier League for a couple of years now, but it looks like it's what's next? Like next team's coming in, time's catching up. There's not that investment going forward. You know, there's aren't those opportunities where, you know, they can keep consecutively competing in the league. But we'll see. Even Pochettino, like he coming into this Chelsea side brand new. Chelsea is one of the teams that we've noticed a lot that they're the ones kind of sacking left, right, and center. Are they going to keep him on the books for a while now if they keep doing well, or if they do poorly? It's
going to be hard, man. Cause
no, that was under Abramovich, though.
The thing is sometimes the benefit of the doubt, you know, coaches go into a team that already have a system. They have no system, and they have so many new players. For the time it takes for him to get a system across, you know, this Chelsea team, find out who am I starting, who's not going to start. He's going to be doing this throughout the season.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he didn't have the time. Like, preseason is not enough time for the coach to come in, brand new team, no playing style, and, you know, develop a playing style before the season starts. He's going to have to do it in the season. So if he doesn't pick it up fast and come up with the starting 11 or who roughly around that, I can see him getting sacked because at the end of the day, Pochettino.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, who gets the sacking? Who gets blamed? The gaffer. Mudryk might not play well. Who's going to get blamed? The gaffer. You know what I mean? So
I think Poch is there at least a year.
I hope so.
I think he's there at least a year.
I agree.
I mean, Graham Potter did he get a full season?
Yeah, almost.
No,
he got 3 quarters, but he was very bad though.
Yeah.
Who says Pochettino won't be bad?
No, that's okay.
That Tuchel sacking to me, I feel like it was
Tuchel as well.
No, the difference is
too harsh.
Pochettino's coming in. He had a whole summer window to prepare his team, so he has 2 months. So you can already see all these players leaving, which obviously he said he doesn't need these players.
Yeah.
So you can see all the scraps going. He has his core players that he has, and now he's just adding on depth. That's all he's doing, adding depth players.
Graham Potter was out of his depth. Poch knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He'll get a chance. It's not a PSG situation where there's like egos and things like that.
that's true.
But
No, for sure. Now let's get to the actual, the hot stuff, the good
The
stuff.
meat and gravy.
The gravy of the
Meat and gravy.
That's what people say now.
Meat and potatoes, dude.
Meat and
potatoes.
potatoes.
Meat
Sorry,
and
that's-
potatoes.
Meat and gravy.
What's top four gonna look like this season? What's top?
See,
four
I
gonna
think
look
every one of us is gonna have something different here.
Okay, here, I'll start off.
Are you go in order? 4 to 1.
Do order?
4 to 1. 4 to
I'm
1.
gonna go 1 to 4
No, go to 4 to 1.
because 1 is inevitable for me.
No, yeah, let's go 1 to 4.
I got
4 to
Man,
1, dude.
Man City first. Okay. I have Liverpool second,
Liverpool second.
Arsenal third, Chelsea fourth. No Man U.
Wow, no Man U.
United just been getting hate today, so I'm not even surprised at this point.
Give us an explanation of why not Man U.
Why not Man U?
Yeah.
I don't think they upgraded well enough. Mason Mount's not an upgrade to anything. Haaland he's good internationally, and he just started coming into his good form, but that's not enough to carry your team right now. And then the third signing, Onana. He's I would say he's a better goalie. Obviously, he makes a lot of mistakes. No one notices this. He probably makes some of the most mistakes in soccer, but he's just a good goalie. But other than that, like you see Chelsea, huge upgrades. Liverpool, huge upgrades. Arsenal, huge upgrades. Man City, upgrading their defense somehow. Like the top four, their team's all upgraded huge. Man United just looks like they went sideways.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Is Mason Mount better than Sabitzer?
Better than Sabitzer?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Okay, now you're just capping, but you don't believe
It's
that.
pretty- it's
They're
pretty
probably
close,
they're
bro.
very
Probably
they're
not.
probably the same
I don't
shit.
think so.
Sabitzer played last
Yes,
season.
I did. He was like he's just average.
He's not good.
He's
Mount's
average.
better.
Mason Mount's average.
You think Mount is better than Eriksson?
No, he's not.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay, because in my opinion, Mount is a big upgrade on both Sabitzer and Eriksson, and it's a lot hard. It's really hard to do a lot worse than what Weghorst did last
Okay.
season.
So,
So we brought in a striker who's going to score more than one goal in the whole year. Hopefully.
Maybe.
Hopefully,
you
because
don't know that yet.
more than one.
I mean,
he will
anything's
score more than
anything's
one goal.
I mean, anything's an upgrade to what you had last year. You had Weghorst.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You had
We came in
Weghorst
third.
playing midfield sometimes.
and we came in third.
I still can't believe you guys got rid of
Terrible year though
like
for every other.
for
team.
Weghorst.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
what are you doing?
No comment.
And then who on Chelsea is really exciting you other than Nkunku?
Huh?
Who on Chelsea is really exciting you other than Nkunku?
Mudryk. He is exciting. I think he's gonna ball up.
He did
this
nothing last season.
I seen him pass the ball to a goalkeeper on a breakaway, but
We'll see.
that's just me though.
year. See.
Anyway,
Who do you got?
my top four is right. I mean, I didn't have an order, so I'm gonna have to like pressure be put in order today. But it was Chelsea, United, City, and Arsenal in random order. But I don't think City is gonna win it either, and just because going 4 in a row is ridiculously hard. So I think fourth, I'm gonna go Chelsea. No, I'm gonna go fourth Chelsea, third United, second City, first Arsenal.
Wow.
Damn.
First Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Look at him. Look at Balraj. Yeah, he's happy.
Upset, man. All right, so I've thought about this a while. I mean, I think Arsenal is going to take the league. I think it's going to be Arsenal. I think it'll be Liverpool, City,
Ooh.
and then I think United will I think United will get it. I think they'll get
Appreciate
fourth. But yeah, I think everyone is gonna go after City. They're gonna have a treble hangover. I just think they're gonna finally run into some injury issues. You have Super Cup. You have the Club World Cup. I just don't think I don't think it's gonna happen for them, and I think they'll dip to third. I think it'll just happen. But I think I'm really bullish on Liverpool. Like, I don't think people give Liverpool enough credit on how good they really are. They just had a completely off season.
Yeah.
They don't have Champions League,
Yeah.
right? They're just like Arsenal last year, where they can do a lot of damage. So yeah, I think that's my prediction.
I'm gonna go. Same thing. I feel like Arsenal are really, 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 really good this year. Again, the way they finished out end of last season, unfortunately for those draws or losses that they got near the end of the season, right? I believe the new signings they received are going to help them go forward and get them those results that they were, lacking of last season, and probably get them their first trophy in a while. So I'm going to go with them first. Same thing. I know our City too. They might be, again, like I just mentioned, they're going to be tired. They still have that hangover. Some of their players they got rid of Mahrez, who's playing on the right there. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep Bernardo Silva still, if they're going to keep him or not, if he's going to go to Barcelona.
If Bernardo Silva leaves, there's no way City wins the league. There's just
De Bruyne too. Is he going to be consistent all season?
No,
he's going to be falling through injury as well. You're going to see Foden and Grealish competing on the left side there. Obviously, you're going to see their defense still going to be strong. They reinforce that. But I just feel like as much as you got Rodrigo there, who obviously is incredible as a 6, is their midfield going to consistently continue throughout the whole season? It's going to be a long season, a lot of competition. So I'm going to see them fight for second or third, honestly. And I'm going to put Liverpool and United in there. I'm going to say Arsenal, City, Liverpool, United. I'm saying Liverpool because, again, they're going forward. They're so good right now.
I have to add one thing because I almost forgot to mention this, and I think I should. So I follow a lot of the Arsenal players on Instagram, and a lot of them got married this summer. Nice. A lot of them got married this
Arsenal?
summer. I swear to God, that is a huge distraction. Mid-season, can you imagine wedding planning?
No one get married.
They're just wedding planning it all worked out. They all got married literally within a week of each other. They had to get all the decisions made and all that, it all kind of happened around that time we lost those or drew those 3 games. I swear, I've been talking to my friends about this, and I'm like, I swear to God, and Ben White, Ramsdale, Gabriel.
Oh, wow.
Core players.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah.
Making mistakes. They're nervous, man. They're Ramsdale, they're so nervous. I'm telling you, dude. They've got that off their back. That's the problem with having such a young team. You know what I mean? These guys are still in their, they're getting married, establishing their families and things like this. Mm-hmm. But, I'm a little worried about Odegaard because he got a new girlfriend and all that kind of stuff. Posting. A little worried there, but I think I know a lot of Scandinavians. He's gonna make it happen. He's dialed in. He's the captain.
Wait until they start having kids. Then
exactly.
My
that's the thing. Yeah, I know. So luckily right now we got 9 months for that, man. You know what I mean? We got 9 months. So I'm telling you, those sleepless nights they're not happening just yet. You know what I mean? So I think this is the year. This
is the window.
Yeah,
the
that's
championship
good.
window.
What do you guys?
For me, man, I'm gonna go 4-1. 4th place. I'm liking United. I think they're going to be solid. I think, Sancho false 9. I think that it does the trick for me, man. I think, if you think, man, Ajax.
Sancho false 9,
man. Think back to that Ajax team.
What is this?
Think back.
He's not playing in Dortmund anymore.
Listen, bro. He's been playing false 9 preseason. He's cooking. Yeah. Think back to that Ajax team. Who is their 9? Tadic, bro. False 9. Tadic, Sancho. Same thing. I think they're going to cook. 4th place. 3rd place. I got Man City. I think, it's going to be tough. I think a lot of those core players like Gundogan and Mahrez, people don't realize how big of an impact they had on that team. They were, those solid players that were in there. They were coming up with those big goals in key moments. I know Haaland scored 36, but Gundogan and Mahrez, I'm pretty sure scored the rest. They were probably 2nd and 3rd in scoring. And I think, when you lose that depth, Kovacic coming in is a great player, but he doesn't have that same goal threat that Gundogan does. Yeah. And then Mahrez hasn't been replaced yet. Bernardo isn't really a goal scorer. Grealish and Foden, they're not goal scorers either. So it's unless one of them steps up to become a goal scorer or they make those signings that they haven't made yet, I think it might be tough for them. 2nd place, I got Arsenal. I think, they made some good signings. I think they'll be solid. But 1st place for me, I like Liverpool this season, man. I think, I got the kid on, man. I think they made some really good signings. I think in terms of attacking depth, I think they probably have the best attacking depth in the league with those players they have up top. Yeah. I think last season, none of them were firing at all. And I don't think that can happen back-to-back seasons now.
You also had Luis Diaz injured.
Diaz is injured. Now he's back. I think Gakpo, find his feet now. Same thing with Jota being back. He was injured a lot last season as well. And I think Salah, you know what you're getting. Nunez as well.
Too.
So many players that are in there.
They're too good. People wrote them off last season.
Yeah, crazy team.
They're going to be really motivated too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. I
just think the one thing they're lacking a little bit is the extra defender.
They're lacking a 6 right now, I think, is the biggest thing. Because Fabinho and Henderson are gone.
They'll sign one.
They still have Thiago, but I think they'll sign a 6 because I think that's the biggest hole in their team. But for me, I think, Liverpool, I think, are going to have a huge bounce back season. Like you mentioned, no Champions League to worry about. I think they're in Europa League, but I think they can kind of coast through Europa League, until
but you don't play the reason why Europa League's different is you don't play even Arsenal in the beginning of Europa League last season, they didn't play their top players. You had
rotate the team. Yeah. So I think I think that's going to work in their favor as well. I think Klopp, every so often he'll have those off seasons where the team just kind of seems like it just went right off the rails. But I think he'll get them back. I think they've had like a pretty long preseason. I feel like all the players have been there for a while. They haven't really had too many players going international duty. So I think that will be Liverpool's year to run it back.
Not bad.
Yeah, man.
I like that. I'm gonna go from fourth to first as well. I got Chelsea making top 4.
Yeah.
We've all, signings, new gaffer as well. Can't go wrong with that. Third, I have Man City.
Gee,
As well.
I don't believe
Wow.
this.
I don't know, man.
I got Man City third. I got Arsenal second. And I got to back up my Liverpool fan over here.
Wow.
Liverpool first.
No United.
I don't have to say what he said. No United for me.
Me neither.
United are not making top 4 next year. I'm telling you this right now.
Clip that.
Why?
Clip that, please. Actually, please. I'm gonna send
You
it
guys
to you.
signed
when we do.
players.
I'm gonna personally send it to you. When we
You
do.
guys have signed players you don't need.
We didn't need a
You're
striker,
not
brother.
signing
No,
players
yeah,
that
Haaland.
fit any position.
We didn't need a striker, brother.
Huh?
We didn't need a striker, brother.
He's not going to give you the amount of numbers.
We
For
need
you
a
to be
goalie,
top 4,
brother.
You need a striker who's actually like.
We
at
didn't need a
least
goalie.
Not world
You
class.
also have
but
Champions League, man.
And
guys
you have
also
Champions League.
We played Europa League, but I'm just
It's not the
saying.
same. It's not
I'm
the
It's not
saying
the
like
same.
United made top 3 with Weghorst playing striker, guys. I think we're forgetting
No,
about
but
this.
everyone else got better.
Yeah, everyone else got better.
Everyone else.
Everyone's gonna
Chelsea
eat
was
that
not. Chelsea was non-existent last
And
year.
did United not
Liverpool was
get
Yeah,
non-existent
but
last year.
I think a lot of bottom, I think a lot of mid-tier, what is your? I'm gonna just what is going to be the most surprising result? Maybe let's put it that way. Like, what home away fixture? What fixture will be your most surprising result? Do you think will surprise people? If I had to tell you last season, I wouldn't have picked City Arsenal. City was still too good, right? But
Yeah.
I would have told you hey, Liverpool, maybe. I mean, those games were all crazy exciting. I mean, hindsight is 2020, but I knew we could play at that level, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Even Newcastle, it's the fixtures that are gonna and the table that's gonna determine, I think, a lot of that. And I
Yeah.
think you're gonna see a lot of upsets.
It's always
City loses 3 more games or draws 3 games, in the first little bit there, the title race is between 1 point. You know what I mean? And City didn't demolish all those teams in the first half of the season, right?
Yeah.
So I think that applies to everybody. It applies to Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea opened up the season against Liverpool. So I think that's the fixture. So it's going to be, that's a big game. And the first game of the season to have that, could determine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 3 points. It could determine. Chelsea's
Yeah.
super hungry. Liverpool's super hungry. You just never know what can happen
Yeah.
in those kind of games.
And,
right?
and like you were saying, you have these other teams that are competing for top 4. At least the top 4 that I have, they all signed world class or not, if not just underneath players that are gonna go right into their starting 11.
Yeah.
Players like the Man U signed are not going right into the starting lineup.
I feel the starting 11
Onana,
is.
yes.
I feel the starting 11 is strong.
I think they all are.
I mean, I think United only based on goalkeeper and couple of the I think Rashford's gonna have a killer year.
Yeah.
I think all these guys are gonna play. I think there's belief in the United club again, and I
Yeah.
think they'll nick top 4, but I think it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be very tough
top
for
4
them.
battle typically. Sometimes it's harder to win the league. It's harder when you have a guy like City.
Yeah.
You're not or a team like City. It's gonna be tough to. They're gonna run away with it.
All I
most of the season,
gotta
right?
say is United finished top 4 last season, even with that whole Ronaldo scandal at the beginning of the season, and not playing games, losing results as soon as Ten Hag got there, not seeing results really up until maybe Casemiro started arriving, started getting his form as well. And one big game that I noticed that really changed things for United was when they beat Spurs at home.
Yeah.
Even that game where they lost 6-2 against City, they didn't have it yet. As soon as we got that result against Spurs, that's when the things changed, and that's when we started seeing results going forward. Because we were 6th, 7th in the table at the beginning of the season, if not lower, and we were struggling a bit. Again, Ten Hag's first season, new signings. Eriksson came in. Casemiro was a player that we needed immensely, And hopefully we get some of the dead weight that we have this season. Maybe, Maguire is being heard of, being called out. McTominay maybe going as well with following him to West Ham. But I feel like we do have our core. Getting Onana is obviously an improvement ahead of De Gea any day of the week. And just having that core center back with Varane and Martinez, Casemiro in the midfield. You still have Bruno who does consistently well every season. And then again, hopefully Rashford just finds his form and keeps it all season long. It's not
can't
stints.
rule United out. I hate to say it as an Arsenal fan, you just can't. They always prove.
And Sancho too. So people say Sancho didn't have his season yet, but who knows? Sancho might change things up. He has his good games. He has his poor games, sure. But again, it's new season. Anthony, again, he went for a lot last season. He's looking a little better the preseason. As soon as they keep their form going forward and they start to see results, the players are gonna get more motivated and they're gonna start off really well. It comes up with the beginning of the season. If you start doing really well, you're gonna do well going forward.
My reasoning of saying this, and I know JP saying, but Man U still made it top 4 last season. But looking back at the top 4 last season, Newcastle made top 4.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't think Newcastle would make top 4. Look at the difference from second to third, 9 points difference. That's from Arsenal and Man City goes down 9 points to Man U.
Yeah, but you're talking about a title race versus third place.
But this is not
this was a 36-week title race you're talking about.
This is not a top 4 race though. You're saying that Man U made the top 4 because they were so much better. They weren't so much better.
I know. I'm saying we weren't that great, and we still managed to make top 4
because everyone else was bad. Look what after.
And we were worse.
I mean, Liverpool, Chelsea were uncharacteristically bad. Like they were really bad.
And then you have Brighton and Aston Villa coming 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have teams that are overperforming and teams that are very much underperforming.
Yeah, it's odd. It was an odd season.
It was one of the most odd seasons.
I mean, that's the biggest gripe that people say about Arsenal. I mean, but Arsenal still, I think the games they had against United and Liverpool were the type of games they would have if those teams were in the top 4 race at the time. But having said that, I still think, I still think United will nick it, but I mean, I see your point.
Last season was one of those seasons.
It wasn't a strong season. That's what my point is.
All right, Dave. Let me ask you a question though. You're saying United. You're saying all these other teams got a lot better, but who did Chelsea sign that's really making you think that they're going to be that sick? I know they got Nkunku, but he's out for a few weeks. But who else?
All the signings in January.
All the ones that played last season?
Fernandes.
Those
the same players that played last season?
This is under new helm now.
The same players that also understand those guys.
The same Enzo Fernandez that played last season and Madueke and the same core players.
I know from experience, we've seen it before. A lot of players takes one season for them to go into an actual rhythm.
Look at every Milan player ever.
Exactly. And then second of all, they were coached by who? Not a proper gaffer like Pochettino. Who actually is going to get the best out of them? Basically,
6 months before Graham Potter joined Chelsea, he was rated in England. It's a lot. It's really easy to say in hindsight.
Who, Graham Potter?
He had Brighton balling. He had Brighton balling before De Zerbi had Brighton balling.
No. You can tell everyone during that Graham Potter Chelsea signing that everyone knew that was too much for Graham Potter. Yeah, everyone knew that.
But at the same time, he had Brighton balling before De Zerbi,
but
he had them
exactly.
I'm saying he had them in and around the same position. He just couldn't have them score. So when you see him doing that with Brighton, you think, what if I gave him better players? You know what I mean? What if I gave him a budget? What if he can sign world class players?
You could ask anyone during that signing, and it was.
I know. I'm just saying, that's what people can think at that point, but it's really easy to say after the fact when it didn't work out that it wasn't going to work in the beginning.
I will say. Poch made Tottenham the most successful they've been in a long time.
Made to the finals with him in the Champions League.
Yeah, and I obviously am not I hate Tottenham.
Yeah.
But Poch made Tottenham really good. And then when he had the opportunity at PSG, still couldn't figure it out. I'm the jury is still out on Poch. This is Poch's biggest test, in my opinion. I think PSG there was some drama going on. I think PSG was trying to figure out what was happening there. I think he's a good coach. But it depends. Chelsea will be... He's still not proven, in my opinion. He built a great Tottenham team at the time. But, who are you competing with at that time? A lot of teams were not doing so well. And they just had 2 players going. He figured out the right system for that team for that season. It wasn't like Tottenham was competing, and they got lucky in the Champions League. They got lucky in the Champions League. Like, you know, Moura had those crazy that crazy game,
Hat-trick, right,
and Ajax, and then they made the final. Like, that was that one year where everyone was like even Liverpool, like I think they were behind against Barca and whatnot. But
don't remind me.
you know, I still think the jury is out on Poch. I think he's a great coach, and everyone says, "Oh, they made Tottenham better." I mean, he didn't really necessarily make PSG any better while the time he was there, and so now is like the big test. Like you have a full rebuild, you have the budget, you have some of the most touted players.
Yeah.
So let's see, but. You know, I still think like Chelsea's still unproven, man. Like they don't know what they're going to be doing next season, and they're going to have to experiment a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, let's see. I mean, it's gonna. I think you guys. Frankly, I think you guys are both going to battle it out for fourth. I think that's realistic.
That's what Chelsea.
Last thing I want to say is
I want to add something out there
because like I had Chelsea in fourth, even though I'm saying these things, I had them in the top four, right? So it's like Ten Hag came in first season at United last year with a worse team than he has right now, and still had them playing some sort of way he wanted to play. He noticed in the first 2 games he wasn't going to be able to play out of the back and said, I'm going to scrap that and play how I'm going to win. And now he has a summer with players he wants to have, right? And with an idea of how he wants to play. So how do you think Chelsea is going to improve more than United when United had this base from last year? That's my only thing. Like, I have no issues with you putting Chelsea in your top 4, but putting Chelsea in your top 4 and not United is what's breaking me, bro.
Okay, well, here, I'll add in my 2 cents. I'm going to go against you. So,
oh, man.
Not you. Okay. Pochettino, I think, is he's a great Prem manager, and I think he is proven in the Premier League because Spurs, they played perfect Premier League style, which is very fast counter-attacking football. And with the Chelsea players that he has on this team fit perfect to his play style. Yes, he didn't do it at PSG, but what coach has done at PSG? They're supposed to win Champions League every single year. They don't do it. But Pochettino, I think he's making the signings to fit that system perfectly with Nkunku, Mudryk, Jackson, and whoever else they play.
Sterling.
This is a fast team.
It's a pacey counter-attacking
This is exactly how Pochettino had it when he was at Spurs with Son, Kane, and Lucas Moura. This is going to be, I'm telling you, this Chelsea team is going to be dangerous. And he's going to be here the whole year, and he's going to be there for at least 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah. No, it's looking good. It's a really, really promising season. I think the final question here, and I think it's going to be unanimous, who's going to be the top goal scorer for this season?
Haaland. I mean, Haaland.
I think it's going to be unanimous, but what are you saying?
It's got to be Haaland, man.
Haaland.
But my question, the real question, do you think he breaks the record?
He's going to break his record
right now?
Yeah,
100%.
Think so?
He's going to score more goals
The only difference is that he can go out and break this record, but is it going to be
like
now?
Premier League record?
Yeah.
Like
Prem record, yeah.
But it's going to come down to actually now the team. Is he going to be scoring 6 goals in one game, or is he going to be scoring?
If he's healthy, I still think he scores.
Is he scoring every single game to get results? You know what I mean? But like,
Haaland is not like he's. If you watch all of his post game, he talks about all the chances he could have had. Every post game has one line. I could have had 5 today. I could have had 6 today.
He's always mad.
He's always
you scored a hat trick and you're still mad.
And so I think he's gonna break his record.
Yeah.
If he's healthy.
Saying that, if he's gonna break his record and they don't finish first place.
Yeah, but I mean that doesn't have anything to do with. I don't think has anything to do with. I mean, I think the back-to-back was when, like the heyday of City was when they lost the Champions League to Chelsea, and they kind of had that momentum. This is a very different. Like they had what it took to make Champions League final. This is a very different, I think, City team. I don't underestimate it. And Pep is not a coach who just like opens up positions for different players. He's very specific in what he wants, and if you don't do what he wants, you're not playing.
Oh, for sure.
And someone else will play in front of you. So I don't know. But I think Haaland will.
He's also got that mindset, Haaland, where he always wants to do better. Improve.
Yeah.
And you see with him, like he says after every game, I go back to Pep and I ask him why I could have done better.
Yeah.
And also another big factor, and I know we said on our podcast before, Gundogan got a lot of goals last season. Now you don't have that player. So who's going to be, who's going to have to get those goals?
Exactly.
It's going to be Haaland. And now you have the service directly to Haaland. Everyone's going to be looking for Haaland.
Yeah, that might be a bad thing, though. Because it's going to be force feeding. I don't know if Manchester City will ever do that, but if they force feed Haaland, that may be bad for them.
I don't know.
I mean, Haaland is like he's a freak, man.
Exactly.
Like he's gonna be available.
He's gonna
whoever
win the
gets.
But also, if that happens, then it's a good thing for Man City at the end of the day as well, because now you have a lot of players defending one-on-one Haaland. You have a lot more openings. Look what people do to Messi. You have 5 players on Messi, and then you have a gap somewhere else.
I will say Haaland is not the best one-on-one. Like he doesn't have like balls, like too many ball skills. Whenever he's a finisher, but if he adds that to his game, which I think he will a little bit this season, because he's gonna have to.
Yeah,
he will have to because, and I think he can because I think he's good enough.
Yeah,
he will have to because I don't think you're gonna have as much creation. I mean, this is all in relative sense because I think City still has a lot of creative players, but. He's just gonna have to add something to his game to close the gap.
I remember, I think it was Pep or it was Haaland himself saying it. Someone asked him a question like, "What can you do to be better?" He's like, "My right foot. I need to get my weak foot stronger." And if he gets a pretty good weak foot like Harry Kane, he's that's adding more goals right there alone.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
So I don't know. We'll see. I think Haaland for sure. It's locked on.
Any other final thoughts for the season? We got a top goal scorer. We got our top 4. We got great new signings coming in. Mm-hmm. We'll see if any manager gets sacked if they don't perform. But it's gonna be exciting. Coming up really, really quick. We had a little break, but again, one of the best leagues in the world, the best league in the world.
Yeah.
With the top players, some of the best players in the world, and it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah,
a lot more to come.
I think I'm more excited to see those. The mid-tier teams, being the big teams.
Okay.
I think there's going to be a lot of upsets this year. I can see Aston Villa doing really well as well. Brighton, Newcastle being those top level teams. So I think this season is a very good season for the mid-table teams to
compete.
They've done a lot.
Get some European football too, right? There's Europa League, and there's the Conference League too. So they're going to be competing for that. So, but yeah, no, it's exciting. Again. 2023, 2022 season was another great season to watch, but yeah, up to the next one, and it's gonna be a good one. But again, thank you everyone for tuning in.
Yeah,
thank you everyone for being here today.
On, Gunners.
Thank you, and Balraj for coming up, and thank you to Lost Craft again for all these great drinks. Again, we'll leave all the the details in the description. But yeah, guys, hit them up. Let me know what you guys think of these great drinks we got here.
Delicious drinks.
But a lot more to come, a lot more Premier League stuff to come, and yeah, we're excited. So again, remember to leave a comment. Like and subscribe. Subscribe. But yeah, you know who we are, guys.
We the Footy Culture,
man. Footy Culture boys.
Season's about to start. Let's go.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers. Liverpool.
Guys, thanks. That was awesome. A lot of fun.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. I know you guys hated United so much, man.
Dude, United always.